New school opening plan.
You're delaying the start of school for most students until the Tuesday after Labor Day.
Delayed start, mandatory masks, and more. Cleveland Schools CEO Eric Gordon gives us a preview of what parents can expect this fall.
Donations aren't enough. Local food banks are stretching every dollar and now have to buy supplies to help more families. Why your donations are more important than ever before. Can you get it again? New research shows coronavirus antibodies may only last a few weeks. What this means for a vaccine.
So far, my family's been healthy and avoided the COVID.
And I went in search of good news. Put all of your worries aside. Northeast Ohio shares its good news with you. What's new starts right now.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Hi, everybody. Hello again, Northeast Ohio, and welcome to What's New. It's so good to be with you again on this glorious Tuesday afternoon. The weather folks just keep giving us one after another after another. Kudos to Betsy Kling. Great to see you again. Happy Tuesday afternoon to you.
Yeah, thank you. You too. Hopefully the day is going well for everybody. But we are, of course, going to be starting off with the news about the coronavirus cases here in Ohio. We are heading in a better direction, but even then, that better direction means cases are still increasing.
Yeah, we still have a lot of cases. That is to be sure. However, the state reporting today there were 1,142 new cases. And while that number is big, in the past 24-hour window, it is down from yesterday's number, which was at 1,261. So about 100, actually more than 100 fewer cases today. Also, daily deaths on the decline. Ohio's 21-day average for deaths is 16 per day. We had 6 yesterday. That number was down to 5 today. So, hospitalizations, those numbers have ticked up slightly. Here's where those numbers stand. Yesterday, there were 954 COVID-19 hospitalized patients in the state of Ohio. Today, that number stands at 1,017. Now, as you might imagine, some of the highest case numbers are in counties with the highest populations. Stands to reason. Cuyahoga County is, of course, one of the highest counties in terms of cases that have been confirmed. So there is this alert system that the governor announced about 2 weeks ago that he created. There are 4 levels ranging from yellow all the way up to purple, which is the highest. No Ohio county has reached purple, but that could change, and it could happen as early as this Thursday. Right now, a dozen Ohio counties, including Cuyahoga, are at red or level 3. But current trends in Cuyahoga show that it is inching closer to purple, and that purple alert comes with the recommendation that people only travel for necessities such as food and mandatory supplies. Mark Namick joins us live now on What's New. He's joining us from downtown Cleveland. Mark, what is the difference? Explain to our audience, if you would, what it means to go from red, where Cuyahoga currently is, up to purple, which could happen later this week.
Yeah, hi, Jay. The difference is small, but here's what triggered it. When you move to more hospitalizations and the greater or growing need for intensive care beds, that bumps you from the red to the purple. And as you noted at the top, we're starting to trend there a little bit. Now, you remember this is always all about capacity. This is what it's been like from the beginning, to flatten the curve. And so they're keeping a close eye, and they've set this mark at about 80%. If capacity reaches 80%, that's when they start to worry a little bit more. Right now, remember though, a lot of that capacity has elective surgeries and other things in it, so they're watching it closely. But from a health standpoint, most experts say whether we're red or purple, they're both very serious, and it means that COVID's on the move in that particular county.
Mark, I mentioned that going from red to purple comes with it some recommendations that you only leave the home for necessary supplies. Are there any mandates that come with purple? Will we possibly see more shutdowns in places like bars and indoor dining?
You know, it's a great question, and it's getting a lot of buzz on social media and on talk radio. But here's the reality right now. The warning system is just that, a warning system that provides guidance. The governor would have to pass any additional health orders, like he did with the requiring of this mask on my face in counties that reach that red level. So if we go into purple, there would have to be additional mandates sent through a health order for that to go into effect. But the health order or the warning system itself would not require. It only recommends that you would stay home and just go out for food and other supplies.
All right,
Jay?
so at this point, recommendations, not mandates, but all of that, of course, like everything else in the COVID-19 era, subject to change. Mark, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Well, continuing on with the virus on your feed at 5, back to school is on every single parent's mind. And now, Northeast Ohio's largest district, the Cleveland Metropolitan School District, that's the second largest one in the state. They have nearly 39,000 students. They're going to start school 3 weeks late this year. As you know, there's a lot of changes going on right now, and the school system needs time to prepare. 3 News spoke with CMSD Superintendent Eric Gordon today about what will be done during that time to make sure schools are ready for students.
Delaying the start of school for most students until the Tuesday after Labor Day. What this allows us is to bring our staff back and provide professional development and training in how to best support students and families in this hybrid learning environment.
Well, Gordon also said face masks will be required for all students in grades 3 through 12. It will be recommended for the younger kids, but they understand that could be a little bit tough for them. So when you're making back to school shopping lists, keep in mind, add in face masks. That's certainly going to be something a lot of families are faced with, and it is a little bit more of an expense that you will incur. Well, as we continue to look into how schools are reopening, we can't forget that different students have different needs, including those who have medical concerns. Romney Smith joins us now. And Romney, these parents are understandably concerned.
Absolutely, Betsy. I've looked in everything from the 2,300 students in Akron Public Schools that have asthma to students in Cleveland with major heart conditions. Bottom line, parents of medically vulnerable students are really concerned. And the more we learn about various school districts reopening, we realize it will be an adjustment for everyone. But parents with medically vulnerable kids have an additional layer of stress because they already know what a medical emergency could mean for their child. Right now, their major concern isn't just educating their kid, it's finding the healthiest way to do it.
I don't feel safe knowing what we've had to do to keep our son alive over the years, sending him into an environment where that could be jeopardized. And so to me, keeping him alive is the first thing and keeping him well. And then we can talk about how we build on making sure education is appropriate for him in this time.
Certainly a huge concern to make sure all medically vulnerable kids don't get sick. And tonight at 6 o'clock, we're going to look into the other concerns these parents have, as well as resources available to help them. Certainly a lot to consider on top of all the changes that are going on.
I mean, it really puts things into perspective when she says, my first priority is keep my child alive. That's
right.
A significant deal. Lots of
Right.
challenges for families ahead. All right, Romney, thanks. We'll look forward to that report at 6. Jay?
Food Bank has been distributing millions of pounds of food throughout this pandemic. Today, they hit Lake County, where it is estimated that as many as 36,000 people are food insecure. Today's distribution event helped more than 750 people who registered, but that many more aren't getting the help they need. This event was designed to let people know that help is available outside of Greater Cleveland.
Specifically in Mentor, there's about 5,000 individuals who are eligible to visit a food program but are not being served. And so we hope that by doing this distribution, it brings about some awareness. We fully anticipate there being another spike in individuals in need coming up in August and September.
Now, the food bank itself is also in need of monetary donations as well as volunteers, as they expect the need to rise in the coming months, as you heard, as coronavirus numbers spike. If you want to help, visit our website or the WKYC app for information on how you can get involved. If you need that information, it is there, WKYC.com.
Well, it certainly is a great opportunity if people aren't working right now. Maybe they can put in some hours volunteering, beef up the resume a little bit, if you will.
Betsy, 36,000 people in Lake County alone, food insecure. That's a hefty number.
It is. All right, well, let's get a check on some of the other headlines making news now. And Russ Mitchell joins us from the other side of the newsroom. Hi there, Russ.
Hey, Betsy. Hey, Jay. Good afternoon to both of you.
Good afternoon, Russ.
Good afternoon to you at home as well. The U.S. has carried out its first federal execution in some 17 years following a Supreme Court ruling. The court ruled 5-4 that Daniel Lewis Lee could be executed by lethal injection for killing an Arkansas family back in 1996 as part of a plot to create a whites-only nation. A federal judge had prevented his execution, and 4 others, citing the 8th Amendment against cruel and unusual punishment due to the coronavirus pandemic. Mary Trump's tell-all book about her uncle, President Trump, comes out today, and she's now free to promote it. A New York court lifted the temporary restraining order that was keeping her away from the news media. That book is already at the top of several bestsellers lists. And today, the city of Akron's face mask mandate is in effect with specific fines attached to violations. Passed yesterday, the city says the measure is not meant to punish, but to encourage the safe practice. In the meantime, Summit County is reminding all residents, even outside of Akron, that wearing a mask is mandatory in public throughout the entire county as part of the state's guidelines. And maybe you can pick up one of those Betsy Kling signature masks if you need one.
With all these kids going back to school, we may have to fire up the old mask brigade again, because we helped a lot of people out, and maybe that's a new way we could get in.
Do you need more? Seriously.
The food bank is always accepting more. I have a few hundred more people have dropped off here at the station.
Wow.
I got to get over there. But, you know, the smaller ones are needed for the smaller kids, and so that might be something that we have to look into.
A fantastic thing you did there, Betsy.
Oh, thanks, Ross.
Sure.
Jay?
Well, here's some unexpected news. Joining A-Rod and J-Lo in their bid to buy Major League Baseball's New York Mets, none other than Browns legend Joe Thomas. How about that? The 10-time Pro Bowl offensive lineman is one of several professional athletes that's tied to the group, vying to buy the New York Mets. And if the bidding is close, the current Mets owner said he would prefer to sell to this star-studded Rodriguez-Lopez group. How about that? That's pretty interesting, Betsy. So now, I've already heard from several of my Indians fans' friends who have said, wait, hold on. If Joe Thomas is going to buy a baseball team, why not buy the Cleveland Indians?
Because they're not for sale.
That's exactly right. I said, look, you buy what you can buy. And I know everything has a price, but that's what's going on. I think it'd be pretty neat to see Joe Thomas as a big league owner.
I mean, the New York Mets is a storied franchise for a long, long time. And, you know, they're not the Yankees, but, you know, maybe it's kind of like the bargain basement version of the Yankees.
You're exactly right. They're not the Yankees, but they won't come with that steep price tag that the Yankees would also command. So it'd be interesting to see Joe Thomas as a Major League Baseball owner. Bright guy. I have no doubt he'd be a terrific owner if he decides to. How about that? Joe Thomas rubbing elbows with A-Rod and J-Lo. Pretty big company. Pretty big. Okay, what's new in beating the summer blues? How parents can help kids and teens overcome the isolation of social distancing over summer vacation.
Oh my goodness, that is such a big deal. Believe me. Believe me. Help us.
I know you know that as well as anybody.
Please help us. All right. Well, later on, we're going to talk a little bit more about the Cleveland Guardians. Well, there's a case for that name as talk of renaming the Indians continues. And, of course, we'll have an update on the weather. Matt?
There you go, little buddy. Mother Nature will provide some rain soon. Hey there, Betsy. Flowers, plants, lawns. We need the rainfall across Northeast Ohio. We do get some in the forecast. We've got the next 7 days for you coming up.
Well, for kids, the summer months are usually spent hanging out with friends. But this summer, they got to hang out with family a lot more, and that's not necessarily very fun, depending on their age. But a lot of these kids, they start feeling very alone and sad. So we talked to our doctor mom, Dr. Gina Robinson with the Cleveland Clinic. And let's start with the older kids. She said for many juniors and seniors right now can be tough. Dr. Robinson said many of them could be feeling grief because they didn't get to end their year the way they wanted to.
So I would say for parents just to keep chatting and making sure you're keeping communication open with kids. If you're noticing that your teen is just spending a lot more time in their room or a lot more time sleeping, or you're seeing some really significant changes in moods or ups and downs that you're not used to seeing, that's the time to just talk to them a little bit more and make sure that they're actually doing okay.
Talking does a lot of good. Well, the little ones, they're having a tough time too. She recommends keeping them connected with friends and family digitally, even have them play games with their friends instead of just talking.
Hangman or something like that, where you can hold the picture up to the screen as they're going to see how many letters they've gotten or how far into the hangman picture they are, doing art projects together, even doing things like charades where they can act things out in front of the camera and they can still see each other. I think those are fun things to try.
Charades is a good one. She also recommends getting your kids outside in a socially distanced way so they don't feel isolated. Now, keep in mind, you can try some things like noodle tag. Instead of touching the other person, you tag them with a noodle or whack them with the swimming noodle. That's a good thing. And, you know, the old school type games are coming back. What about kickball? They can go swimming in a pool. You know, they're in the water and
Marco
that kind
Polo.
of thing. You just got to be kind of careful there. But hiking, bike rides are also great for older kids. All right, so Jay, we were in my neighborhood when I was growing up. We had legendary games of flashlight tag and kick the can.
Kick the can. I was just going to say that was our neighborhood in Sandusky, Ohio, Westchester Estates. Man, if it was 8:30 at night and your kids weren't home, they were out in the neighborhood playing kick the can. And I'm talking some epic games.
Epic.
Do kids do that anymore, Bets?
I don't know that they do. I can literally remember standing there being sprayed down with off. And I'm sure everybody could smell me to find me because it was just like the emanating bug spray smell. But, you know, flashlight tag is where you just find somebody, you flash a light on them, now they're it, you go hide.
They're frozen.
It was so fun at night, right?
Oh,
and
gosh.
catching fireflies, and then you do your whole thing.
Can I sound like an old person for a second?
Sure.
I sound like an old person often.
J-pop, of course you can.
Okay. Kids today, I know they have their little phones and their games, but growing up was way better when you and I were younger, Betsy, in my view.
There's a lot of people nodding around here.
Am I right?
Oh,
do you disagree with that?
I don't necessarily disagree. No, I think
we had kicked the
much
can.
more sensitized to the way, you know, the security side of things these days.
I know. I mean, oh gosh. I'm just glad I grew up when I did. I really am.
Well,
they don't even play neighborhood baseball anymore.
Nights,
do you see?
Right?
You never see that.
No.
Time for weather, isn't it?
It is,
Yeah.
actually. Matt, are you playing hide and seek with the kids yet to pass your time?
No, Betsy and Jay, I'm telling you, we had a neighborhood that happened to have, growing up, all kids that were the same age. There were like 18 of us, no joke. And we would play kick the can. We would also play Ghosts in the Graveyard and Capture the Flag. Did you guys ever play those games?
I remember all of them. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Bets, do you remember those?
Yeah, just so much fun.
Josie plays Ghost in the Graveyard with some neighbor kids. And, you know, what's the flag? Catch the flag?
Capture
the flag.
Yeah.
That was
Capture
a
the
church camp
flag,
thing.
That was so much fun.
Betsy, it was a church camp thing for sure. Anyway,
I was saying when we were growing up, our director Al actually got in my ear and said, "Wait, you grew up? When did that happen?" I'm offended.
Good point. There is that too. All right, Jay, what's the weather word for the day?
Delirious. I think that's fitting for today. Delirious. There's your word, Matt.
Delirious. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You got it, guys. Well, nothing delirious about the weather right now, guys. It is just perfect right now. A little bit warmer today, just a couple ticks warmer than yesterday, but overall that humidity remains low. Take a look at the readings outside. 70s in our lakeshore counties, 80s as you get inland. We're all going to be comfortably cool once again tonight, and the reason why is our dew points, or the measure of how sticky it feels outside. That continues to be on the low side for this time of year. We've got dew points generally in the 50s, and that is an indicator indicator of how low our temperature can get. It doesn't always get that low, but it can't go below the dew point. So when you have dew points in the 50s, that tells you temperatures can get down into the 50s. And I think we'll see that once again in some of our outlying locations as we go throughout the overnight. But look at the humidity building off towards the west. It is thick from areas of Wisconsin all the way down towards Texas. And I put this map together. This is a 24-hour change in your dew point. Basically, green areas, that shows you where you've got increasing humidity, and it's just off to our west. I think that humidity will really start to ramp up, not during the day tomorrow, but tomorrow night into Thursday morning. And that aligns perfectly with a cold front. That cold front's going to take its time getting here. It's going to kind of stall over the area. So once we get the rain out of it, which won't be until Thursday, we're going to stay with the rainfall chances. That front will kind of waffle its way back and forth over the Ohio Valley. But until then, fair weather cumulus tonight, otherwise clear skies and a beautiful night. Your National Design Mart hour-by-hour forecast. You can see tonight we've got temperatures falling back into the 50s under mainly clear skies. If it's a night to let the kids out, don't go delirious waiting for them because it's beautiful outside. They'll be outside for quite a while tonight. Tomorrow, lots of sunshine as we go throughout the afternoon. Couple high clouds off of storms to our west. Temperatures, though, warmer. Our model's saying mid-80s. Weather team here at Channel 3 going with near 90 degrees. I think we'll do a couple more degrees than that. It will be a hot day tomorrow, all things considered. And then you could see on into Thursday morning how we increase those shower and thunderstorm chances. We'll fine-tune the timing on those showers and storms as we get closer to Thursday. Keep in mind, though, that's really our first good chance of rain in several days. The Muggy Meter, we've been showing this all week. It really ramps up. We're going to be in the thick air over the course of the weekend, but that thick air is also going to have the opportunity to ring out more showers and thunderstorms over the course of the weekend and next week. You can see that corridor of rain. Hey, at least we have a chance, right? Universal Windows Direct 7-day forecast, 91 tomorrow, a little bit cooler, but still muggy on Thursday with the storms. Friday looks dry, but then the weekend we introduce shower and thunderstorm chances almost every day with temperatures back into the 90s. Jay and Betsy?
All right, Matt, thank you very much. Next on What's New, super stressed. Why Cleveland is being called the most stressed city in America right now. Wow.
Hello. Yes, I am. All right.
everybody. It is 5:24, and it's time now to see what is clicking in Cleveland. Stephanie Haney joining us now. And so, girlfriend, what are people clicking on today?
Well, Betsy, we continue to be looking at the front runners for a new potential name for our Cleveland baseball team. So today, our 3 News sports analyst Ben Axelrod is going over the case for the Guardians.
While it may not possess the same historical connection as the Cleveland Spiders, the Cleveland Guardians has gained a lot of momentum as a potential replacement for the Cleveland Indians' new name. Located just outside of Progressive Field, the Hope Memorial Bridge connects downtown Cleveland to Ohio City and possesses a set of guardians called the Guardians of Traffic, who are intended to protect travelers across the city. So if the Indians are looking for a new name that both has a local connection and portrays a larger-than-life persona, need not look any further than just outside its own stadium.
I like how it is right outside of the stadium there. That seems like that would fit nicely. All right, here's one we need to work on, you guys. Cleveland is apparently the most stressed out city in the entire country. This is based on a Wallet Hub survey that compared more than 180 cities in the categories of work stress, financial stress, where we ranked number 1, family stress, where we ranked number 4, and health and safety stress, where we ranked number 3. So anxiety from COVID-19 is just one of the reasons that we're stressed out here. And according to this study, we have the highest divorce rate in the nation. You'd think with all of those divorces, people would be less stressed out because they wouldn't be in unhappy marriages. Here's the top 5. Cleveland is 1st, 2nd is Detroit, Birmingham, Alabama is 3rd, Gulfport, Mississippi is 4th, and Newark, New Jersey is 5th. In the less stressed out state of Virginia, there's a man who has been collecting trademarks relating to the Washington, D.C. NFL team's new name. Now, here's a fun fact. If you're going to get a trademark, you actually have to be using it. So, Martin McCauley has a stockpile of make-believe football team merchandise, including mugs, clothes, and foam fingers. He said he's applied for so many trademarks in 6 years that he's lost count. So here are the most recent trademarks that he's applied for. The Pandas, the Warriors, the Founders, the Gladiators. And here's the kicker. He doesn't even want money for any of those names. He said he emailed the team and he just has them free for them to use and he'd be happy for them to use them, Betsy. He doesn't think Pandas is going to fly, but that's his favorite. So he's thinking maybe the Red Tails? I don't know. I think Pandas would be okay.
I think the Red Tails is a pretty sweet name for Washington, certainly, but we'll have to wait and see what the Indians have to say. Pandas doesn't really ring a bell for us, so we'll just keep on moving on that one.
No, not here in Cleveland.
Definitely. All right, Stephanie, we'll check in with you again just a little bit. Coming up new at 5:30, travel restriction. The U.S. destination that's going to require a 14-day quarantine if you visit, but only if you're from Ohio. The big regret that actress Viola Davis has about a major movie role that earned her an Oscar nomination. And we have some good news. Jay hits the streets to find out what's going on in your lives that's going to make you smile. I like this idea. That's straight ahead on What's New.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
All right, everybody, we just found out Russ Mitchell has never played kick the can.
I know. I feel like, Russ, you missed a big part of growing up.
Yeah.
A big part of growing up, man.
I'm so deprived.
We'll
You're
learn
going to
you
teach
how
me,
to
right?
do it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we're talking about a game of 3 News, kick the can.
We totally need to do that.
I'm in.
We'll show these youngsters how it's really done.
Yeah, that's right.
How we had fun in the olden days.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, I'd be a little worried about broken ankles, torn ACLs, that kind of thing.
My back.
Yeah, it gets pretty serious. It does.
Definitely. All right. Well, welcome back, everybody, here at 5:30 on What's New. Jay, we all like to start the bottom of the hour by telling everybody something good. So, Jay, tell me something good.
We have something. Here it is. This is outstanding. That emotional applause comes to us from Columbia, Missouri. There, the staff at the VA Medical Center lined the hallways to celebrate U.S. Army veteran Skip Allen. He was wheeled out of the hospital after receiving treatment for COVID-19. The show of support actually moving him to tears. Look at that.
Yep.
Both hallways that he's traveled down, lined shoulder to shoulder. Actually, they're socially distant. They're 6 feet apart, which is very responsible celebration. I like to see this.
I like to see it too because everybody's involved, right? It's the whole team effort. And when I had my girls and was in the hospital for a few days with each of them, I think the most important people were the anesthesiologist.
Yes.
Thank you. And then the cleaning crew. They were so awesome and kept the room clean and tidy, and it made such a big difference. And sometimes they're the people that are so overlooked. So shout out to the cleaning crews.
Absolutely.
Where
Where would we be without them? You know? So there's your good news to start the bottom of the hour. Coming up a little later in this half hour, we've got a ton of good news. I went out and asked Northeast Ohioans to share their good news with us, and we're going to share it with you. That's coming up in just a little bit. But right now, it is time for our top talker. Ohio joining a club that nobody wants to be in. Betsy, we have been added to New York State's list of states that will require travelers to quarantine. So in other words, if you plan to go to New York on a visit and you're coming from Ohio, you have to self-quarantine for 14 days. Ohio joins Minnesota, New Mexico, and Wisconsin as 4 states that have been added to that list. And that list now includes 22 states. So you can see how much this thing has pivoted. Not that long ago, New York was the epicenter. Now they're trying to do all they can to keep any other flare-ups from taking place. Just off the list, Delaware. Here's the criteria for the restriction. It is a little technical. Either a state has to have a positive coronavirus test rate higher than 10 people per 100,000 residents, or that state has to have a 7-day average over 10% positivity in its testing. And we're not there. That has to be over a 7-day average. So Ohio actually fits the first of the criterion. New York State has been making positive strides in reducing the spread of the coronavirus. So yeah, that's not a list you want to be on. No. Early on in this pandemic, everybody said if you go to New York, and you come back to Ohio, you got to quarantine for 14 days. Now it's the other way around.
And you got to think that, Florida and South Carolina, North Carolina is like, wondering if we should have done that a long time ago because their numbers have been spiking.
That's a good point. One thing that, we try to share good news as we get it. I just read, this moved on the wires just about a half hour ago, a little after 5 o'clock. There's a drug, a vaccine that's in progress right now from a drug company by the name of Moderna. And this drug has actually gone through now the second phase. They're into the third phase of testing. All 100% of the people that have received the vaccine have developed the antibody that fights COVID-19. So this is a huge development. It's one that will continue to follow. Betsy, they of course have to go into phase 3 of the trial, which means even more people will be vaccinated. But so far, so good. This is the best news on the vaccine front to date. And all indications are that they are mass producing up to 100 million doses of this vaccine that could be ready for distribution still in 2020, later this year.
Wow.
Fingers crossed, but that would be huge news.
That is what everybody's waiting on, right? That's the next step.
Absolutely.
So it's all about the antibodies. You want those antibodies to fight infection, and vaccination or just getting the virus and making your own antibodies. Those are your two options. So herd immunity, well, we're getting there, but it's going to take a little bit of time. All right, thanks. Jay, that's some good insight.
A lot of good news going around today.
You're digging, and that's why we like you. All right, now we get another check of our headlines. Russ Mitchell joins us once again. Hi there, Russ.
I'm here to end that whole good news thing, so I apologize for that to both of you guys. But good afternoon, everybody. The United States and Canada have agreed to keep the border between the two countries closed for another 30 days. That would push the reopening back to at least August 21st as the U.S. struggles to control new coronavirus cases and deaths. The Trump administration has rescinded a policy blocking international students from staying in the U.S. while taking online-only courses. This comes after blowback from universities and a flurry of lawsuits challenging that directive. Disneyland in Hong Kong is shut down again after a sudden spike in cases there. The park had been open for about a month. Hong Kong has had 180 cases in the past 10 days. Schools there have also closed once again. And the new bill in the Ohio legislature would make February 26th Dr. Amy Acton Day. That's the date that Governor DeWine hired Dr. Acton to be the Ohio Department of Health Director back in 2019. She resigned last month, but remains the governor's chief health advisor. And that is all now for 5:30. Betsy, I'll see you at 6 o'clock.
All right, certainly will. And Russ, just kind of planning ahead on your grocery shopping list, large coffee can.
Large coffee can.
You were in charge of getting the large coffee can.
Like Jay, though, I have a reconstructed ankle, so it could be an interesting game for us out there.
It'll be a slow game. We'll play slow-mo kick the can.
I like that. Thanks.
I need to. All right, thanks, Russ. Well, a new study about coronavirus antibodies, that's what we've been talking about, it can have big implications in the search for the vaccine. A new British study found that some people who recovered from the virus were only immune to it for a few months. Researchers found 60% of people had a potent level of antibodies 23 days after they first got sick, but only 17% still had that level 65 days after their first signs of illness. People who were less sick had fewer antibodies over time, and some people didn't produce antibodies at all. We talked to the medical director of the Cleveland Clinic's immunology lab about all of this, and he says this means a vaccine might need to be administered in 2 doses.
Imagine that the world population and the fact that let's imagine this requires that 2 vaccines, 1 prime, 1 boost, and let's even imagine that the duration of immunity is short. That means it has to be repeated every season. So that requires a very high number of vaccines to be manufactured globally, which is another logistical challenge.
So it's kicking it back to the booster shots. We have that for other things, too. He says a vaccine trial would likely involve a large number of people who are at risk for exposure, like healthcare workers, to see how effective the vaccine is. Well, coming up, politicians do say the darndest things. Next, what Jimmy Fallon got New York Governor Andrew Cuomo to admit to him about his love life.
I'm hooked. Matt, how's the weather looking?
Hi, Jay. Another picture-perfect day turned out here in Northeast Ohio. It's probably the best place in the country right now, but that will change. We're going to really start to ramp up the heat and humidity and your storm chances. I've got to look at how much rainfall you can expect coming up.
And, Bets, are you going to read it? Go ahead.
I was checking a text message from our boss, actually. Time now for your pop quiz question. Which Major League slugger hit his 500th home run on this day in 1968? I know you know this one, Jay. Roberto Clemente, Hank Aaron, or Willie Mays?
I don't know it. It could be any of the 3.
What's new continues.
I really don't know that.
Oh, yes, you do.
No, it could be any of those.
You know everything.
cut the bold. Can I do that in the next deal? I thought it was on the printer.
All right, we have the answer now to the pop quiz question. Which Major League slugger hit his 500th home run on this day in 1968? It was Atlanta Braves legend Hank Aaron. That milestone homer was a 3-run shot in the 3rd inning, helping lead the Braves to a 4-2 win over the San Francisco Giants.
Now, I was going to guess Hank Aaron. Not really. I honestly didn't know that. It could have been any of the three because it all happened right around that time. Okay, that music means it is time for your daily dose of entertainment news. What's going on in the world of pop culture? Stephanie Haney is back now with today's Pop Break.
Viola Davis is now saying exactly why she regrets playing the role of Abilene Clark in The Help. In her cover story interview with Vanity Fair, the Emmy, Oscar, and Tony winner said that although she loves everyone the movie gave her the chance to work with, she felt like she was betraying herself and her people by playing Abilene because the movie catered to a white audience, wasn't ready to tell the whole truth, and the voices of the maids weren't heard. Get ready for this one. Emmy, Oscar, and Tony winner John Legend has a history of cheating. The devoted husband and father told armchair expert host Dax Shepard that when he started to become famous, he would get around technically cheating by keeping his relationships loosely defined, but that he knew it was really cheating. That all stopped for him, though, when he met supermodel Chrissy Teigen. Legend said, at a certain point, you just realize you're happier being honest, happier being faithful, and in love with one person. I'm sure that person being Chrissy Teigen helps.
Do you think that you are an attractive person now because you're single and ready to mingle?
Hold up a minute on that one, Chris Cuomo. While your New York governor brother Andrew is getting a lot of attention right now, it looks like he's not quite ready to dive back into dating from what he told Jimmy Fallon.
0. I'm at phase 0 on dating. I think New York City will be fully reopened before I get out of phase 0 on dating.
He did just break up with his longtime love, Sandra Lee, last year, so let's give him a little bit of time, people. Governor Andrew Cuomo and his brother Chris were named the most desirable men in New York, according to a Matchmaker's survey, Jay and Betsy. Now, Chris is married, of course, but his wife Christina says that when the governor is ready, she has a whole wait list of women for him to ask out.
I think he's got a couple other things on his plate first. So I think New York would probably like for him to focus on that.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not a good political look to be talking about dating life in the midst of a pandemic.
Well, he is pretty busy, that's true. And also, he said that his phase 0 of this self-imposed dating quarantine has no duration, and it could go on for months.
All right, guess the ladies of New York will just have to wait.
Thank you, Stephanie. All right, let's take a look now at the forecast because things are going to be heating up. Matt, you were out watering your plants just a little while ago with the tiniest little watering can I have ever seen. You're going to have to step your game up a little bit unless we have more rain.
Well, Betsy, I'll tell you, a couple weeks ago I flooded my pool, so Cleveland Water was on my case about that. So I've been very conservative with, watering these things behind me. So that's the reason why. Hey, do we need to water the gardens tonight? What do you think?
Yep.
Yeah, you think so?
Good
Can you be in
call,
charge
Emmy.
of that tonight?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Great. Adulting. One of these days you're going to have responsibilities, okay? Just not quite yet. So you just take care of your little. She's got a. You can't see it off camera, but she's got a little mint plant. Yes, honey. You have to do the weather. What's going on?
I missed it. Had been over into the island, and when it did, it started going back up.
Oh my goodness, that's silly. Okay, one of our mint plants is doing something. Okay, do you want to help me with the weather?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you see here?
Sun goes down, sun goes down, sun goes down.
That's right. That's our sunset times. Very good. Have you noticed the earlier sunsets, everybody? We're now below the 9 o'clock hour. It's 8:59 tonight. Look what happens the next 4 Tuesday nights, though. By next week, 8:54. And then in just a couple weeks, we're down to 8:30. So get out and enjoy these later nights while they last. And it should be a beautiful sunset tonight. Reason why, there's some high clouds coming across the lake. So our northern communities, that's going to spell for a beautiful sunset out over Lake Erie tonight. Those high clouds are off of thunderstorms well towards our west. That cold front's going to take 2 days to get here. So here's the setup over the next couple days. Tomorrow, we'll see sunshine, but we'll likely get some high clouds off of thunderstorms that develop tonight. And then Thursday, that front approaches, and that is our real next appreciable chance of rain around northern Ohio. But continued comfortable tonight. We're back into the 60s, perhaps one more night of some upper 50s in those outlying locations. Most of us should settle into the 60s, though. And speaking of low temperatures, this is over the last 2 weeks worth of lows. Remember last week we were in the 70s for much of that week for your overnight lows. I show that because we're going back to that. We're going to be in the upper 60s, the low 70s for quite a duration starting later this week. Your National Design Mart hour-by-hour forecast. Clear skies tonight outside of a couple of those high clouds. Same thing tomorrow. A beautiful start to your Wednesday. It is going to be warmer tomorrow. We're going to make our way up near 90 degrees. But then that rain doesn't arrive with those clouds until Thursday. We'll have on and off showers and thunderstorms likely throughout the day. We'll fine-tune that timing on that. But the good news with that is that we bring some much-needed rainfall into northern Ohio, and that storm chance continues as we go all the way through next week. So your Universal Windows Direct 7-day forecast, nice tomorrow outside of the heat, 87 on Thursday with rainfall chances. Friday looks dry, and then for the weekend we'll be dodging mainly afternoon storms, and the storm chances, as I mentioned, going to Monday and Tuesday with highs in the 90s. Guys?
Okay, Matt, thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow. We are sharing all kinds of good news straight ahead. I ventured out to ask you to tell us something good, and you did not disappoint.
And coming up later, Under the Sea. See what I did there?
I did. I like
Not
that.
the Little Mermaid, though. Some divers and how they made music underwater.
What? Okay, 3, 2. Masks or shields, which protects you best? We go to an expert for the answer. Fittest cities, where Cleveland falls, and why staying fit now is more important than ever during this pandemic. Staying safe, as more people take up boating, new guidelines to protect you on the water. Social distancing, one bar owner's solution to make sure people stay 6 feet apart. And major payday, the money Myles Garrett is expected to earn for staying with the Cleveland Browns. Welcome back to What's New. It has now been 5 months since the coronavirus changed our lives drastically. Since then, there's no doubt about it, things have been very tough. But in all times of darkness, there is always light. And we wanted to focus again on some of those bright moments. So I visited Giant Eagle in Solon to ask shoppers to share their good news. So here's our setup. We have our Share Your Good News sign. And just to make sure that we're doing everything right and everybody's socially distant, I brought my tape measure. I'll stand over there. Interview subjects will stand here, more than 10 feet away, just to make sure we're safe. Now, it's time to hear your good news.
So far, my family's been healthy and avoided the COVID. I have great doctors and nurses in my life. They're just so much heart.
What's your good news?
Hopefully, sports will be returning, even though no fans, but they will be able to get to watch and enjoy it on TV. I think it'll mean a whole lot. It'll bring a smile to our faces and just joy.
The best news in my life right now is I got a new job at the Cleveland Clinic, and I'm learning how to microblade soon and getting certified.
If you had to judge my eyebrows and be honest on a 1 to 10, what am I working with?
Not bad for a guy.
Not bad.
Good guy brows.
What's your good news?
Number one, at the top of the list, I heard that my daughter's college is opening on time. So she'll be headed back to school very soon. Praise the Lord for all of us.
Just waking up every day and being able to come outside and talk to people like you.
Look at that smile on that young lady. What's your favorite thing in the world to do?
Go outside and do TikTok.
Do you have any TikTok dances maybe that you can show me? You're a superstar. What good news can you share with us?
That Odell Beckham Jr. wants to stay in Cleveland.
That is great news.
I was furloughed and then eventually laid off. One of the things that impacted me the most is my mental health. I feel a lot more positive every day. I can start giving my energy to other people.
And we're taking that energy and that aura and we're sharing it with our audience. Share your good news with us.
Well, I'm happy that I get to play baseball, and I'm happy that I get the opportunity to step out on the field. Even though they had like COVID and everything, I'm just happy to be on the field.
We like to come out from time to time and ask people to share their good news with us.
So actually today, we dropped my mother-in-law off at the airport. She retired and she's moving to Tampa. It's bittersweet, bittersweet. She's gone, but it's going to sunnier horizons.
Chris, I'm glad you clarified that because that could be misconstrued by your mother-in-law or your wife. If your good news is that your mother-in-law moved to Tampa, bro, you know what I'm saying.
I have great in-laws, great in-laws.
That's awesome.
No issues there, no issues.
What's your good news?
I am a hairstylist and I recently just got my LLC. 2020 has been kind of not good to us, but it's been so many blessings from 2020, so.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I think that's awesome.
Thank you.
That you're in business for yourself.
Yes.
Controlling your own destiny.
Mhm.
That's wonderful.
Yep.
Can I tell you that just made my day? Yeah, that was fun to hear. There were a lot of other folks, Betsy, that we couldn't fit them all in, unfortunately. But there were a lot of people that have good news that they want to share. And I love hearing it. So
Disappointed we didn't get to see you do the TikTok dance.
yeah, she asked me if I wanted to join in. And I'm like, I think this would be a better piece if I just watched you. And she went on, she did that dance for about 30 seconds, and it put a smile on my face that, to quote one of my favorite lines from a movie, I needed plastic surgery to remove my smile. I was ear to ear. She was just full of sunshine.
I have a feeling she probably would have been smiling if you had tried that dance too. So perhaps you missed your opportunity to pay back.
A lot of people would have been laughing. That's what would have been going on. All right, that was fun. And thanks to all for sharing your good news. Coming up next, Party of Divers. This is crazy. We take you to a unique rager under the sea. It is your worth the watch, and it is next.
I'm here. Yep.
Hey, Al, how are you? Good.
Time to wrap it up with our Worth the Watch. Today it takes us under the sea, literally. Listen to this. Divers in the Florida Keys had themselves an underwater music festival recently. The 4-hour-long event, Betsy, featured all kinds of fun ideas. There were guitar-playing mermaids, and of course, all water-themed songs broadcast among the divers. Some tunes included favorites from The Little Mermaid and the Jimmy Buffett tune, Fins. What do you make of that, Bets? That's creepy right there, I'm not gonna lie.
It's kind of weird.
That's a really creepy shot.
I mean, wow. Now, I know, there are some crazy things that happen down in the Keys, but that kind of is up there on the list a little bit.
Yeah, well, there's all kinds.
Yeah.
And I hope they enjoyed themselves.
Yeah.
And I hope you enjoyed the hour with us on What's New, and we invite you to watch us again tomorrow at 5 p.m.
Please